I wanted to shoot a video on this topic today because this is kind of interesting. So you may know I have two programs. I work with athletes in a couple different levels. One, I have athletes who are training for the Olympic Games or they're training to go pro, or they're on the way to become a Division I scholarship athlete, or things along those lines. I also have a program called Mental Performance School, which is where I work with families who have an athlete in the household and creating a mindset to navigate everything that's going to go on in that athlete's life on their path to then getting to the point where now that vision of maybe playing in college or going to the Olympics is now a little bit more concrete. So what happens is the athletes that come to me that are older, a lot of the work we do has to deal with kind of fixing a major flaw or two or three that has gotten them to a certain point, but then now has gotten them stuck. And so the topic today I wanted to share with you is really important, because if you worry about what I'm about to share with you, if you're concerned about this topic, I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to make it, or you're going to have difficulty making it. And that topic is worrying about what other people think about you. Okay, I wrote about this in my book, An Athlete's Guide to Winning in Sports and Life, which is on Amazon. And this idea that what people say about you says more about them than it does about you. And so in particular, I don't want to get into too many specifics here, but the general idea is that if you worry about what other people think, you will constantly feel this anchor pulling on you, this worry, this weight. Your focus, instead of being focused on the task at hand and the vision you have for yourself, it gets dissipated. It starts going, you start looking right, looking left, like, oh, what's he think? What's she think, right? Oh, or I did an interview today with the television and they commented on my body, my physique, or how I looked, not on what I was doing. If those things worry you, your energy is being sapped away from you, and that's on you. It's not on the person, right? And so one of the athletes I had, this was a couple years ago, this was kind of fascinating to me because this athlete was going along great, not a concern in the world, and then all of a sudden they were asked by a pretty prominent individual in their town. They were being honored at this event, and the prominent individual in their town just made a little offhand comment. And this athlete took that comment and then started to dwell on it, because they started to kind of wonder, well, is it me? Should I be different? Should I look different? Should I have different? Like, what is it going to be? And they put all this weight on the comment that came from that person when it was really unnecessary. So along the way, along your journey to athletic success, or even failure, let's put it that way, what people say about you has no bearing. It just identifies more what they think of you. So let me give you an example. When I was growing up, so I competed in the sport of luge in the Olympics, and I was also goalie in pretty much every sport I played. So the comment I got a lot was like, oh my God, you're crazy. And for a while, I kind of thought maybe I was a little crazy, but I didn't know what crazy meant. But it was conflicting to me, because really in my mind, I'm not crazy at all. Like, I don't do crazy things. Like I wouldn't drive my car excessively fast. I didn't ride roller coasters. I was actually quite analytic. I would look at data, numbers, and I would see how things would. I wouldn't jump like off a rock cliff into a pond, like into a lake. That just wasn't me. But there was this conflict between what people were saying about me and then my vision of myself. And for a number of years, I put too much weight on that, until I realized later, I'm like, oh, what they say about me says more about them than it does about me. Their concerns. When they said, oh, you do luge, or you're a goalie, you're crazy, what they were saying was, I would never do what it is you do. I don't know what you know, and therefore would never attempt what it is you're trying to do, right? That is the critical mindset that you have to really adapt in order to go through anything. Because the moment you decide on your goal, your vision, your outcome, whether it's going to the Olympics or playing college or playing professionally or any of those things, is that you're gonna run up against people who they've never even thought of that. They've never considered that, but they're happy to share their opinion with you. And that in turn is going to cause a little bit of grief. And it can be a friend, it can be a classmate, it can be a brother, a sister, or it can be a parent. And the closer it gets to you, the more difficult it can be to manage, okay? If it's a newscaster, if it's a city official, if it's a sponsor, that's one thing. There's distance there. But as it gets closer and it gets to a relative, then it can become a little bit more difficult to defend, because you are then now almost confronting that person and saying, you know, I'm not you, but we're in the same family, but I'm not you, but I'm your dad, but I'm not you, but I'm your mom, but I'm not you. I know better, I'm the adult. Yeah. These are tense moments. What I encourage my families to understand is that there will be these dynamics that come into play, whether they're inside the house or they're outside the house. But the important thing is to understand is to find the way to help this athlete navigate that path and not be so affected by it that it causes them to be distracted. It causes them to lose focus, lose energy, right? And lose emphasis on the task at hand. So take what people say about you and filter it. Realize that what they're saying is not a personal attack on you. It's really an admission of their own thoughts, fears, considerations, roadblocks that they would have going through their head that you may have already overcome, okay? And I'll tell you again, this doesn't go away your entire life. When you get to college and you pick a major, someone's gonna offer their opinion on that. And if you go to start a company later in life, people are gonna go, oh my God, you're crazy. You know, my dead drunk uncle Bob tried that once and it didn't work out for him. That's all great. Love them up. Don't get too distracted by it, but realize that if you're too worried about what other people think about you, you're gonna have a hard time breaking through, right? So create these boundaries, create these filters so that you can hear those things, those comments, let them go in one ear, out the other. Say thank you to the people that offer them to you, but just move ahead, all right? See you tomorrow.